Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of the Lykeminded Podcast. Today we are kicking off the season with a very special guest. Father, brother, innovator, entrepreneur, consultant, marketing genius, founder of MOOV rideshare company in the Twin Cities, my best friend, my older brother, Murid Amini, with us today.
Hey,
how's it going, bro?
Jay? Doing well. Thanks for having me.
No worries. So, it's a Friday. It's a beautiful day. You know, how's everything going? How are you today? How's the company going? Fill us in.
Everything's going well. Company is doing well. Very thankful. We're now launched in the Twin Cities, and we are bringing on drivers. We're bringing on riders. It's very surreal. It's been a journey to get here. So excited to watch our continued growth.
So yeah, brother, it looks like you made the move into the rideshare space.
Yes.
It's kind of wild. So walk me through kind of the past years and what led you to take that entrepreneurial step into having your own company. Because I know in the past you've worked for top consulting firms and kind of top companies and played a key role in their strategy and leadership and whatnot. But what made you want to jump into the unknown and start something yourself? Yeah, take it back to college too if you want, because I know you did a lot of innovative and crazy stuff back then. So
my entrepreneurial journey is a little bit interesting. It started in high school. Me and my brother created this company, MN Advertising, and we realized that small businesses did not really have a good way to be seen. And this is, kind of before like websites and SEO were a big deal. And so we'd run around, kind of help small businesses with business cards, websites, decals for their cars, etc. That kind of started me off. Went into college, kind of went the tech route for a while, came back and did my MBA. And it was during my MBA that I had my next entrepreneurial venture, which was ball skate. We essentially wanted to reinvent the rollerblade and use balls instead of wheels. And so it was fun. We filed 4 international patents. We got a 6-figure seed raise and ended up eventually exiting that to a private equity. And, I continued the corporate route. I ended up, spending about just under 3 years at McKinsey & Company, which is like a global strategy firm. And some of the work I did there was in their startup practice. And it just kind of slowly gave me more and more passion for entrepreneurship, right? It's really about solving problems for people. A couple of things happened, last year. Number one was I started to follow Careem, which is a big rideshare company in the Middle East, and was actually, is led by 2 former McKinsey consultants. And so started to follow that, and at the same time, a lot of the Minneapolis, rideshare stuff was going on with the MOLDA members and MOLDA Association. And so a group of us friends kind of got together, and we're looking at this problem late last year, and didn't really kind of amount to anything that was like a viable solution. And so we kind of, it fizzled out. And then this year in the spring, the city of Minneapolis passed that rideshare ordinance. And I was actually there at the meeting. And I remember that, every driver was there giving this emotional plea. And when I went up to testify, honestly, I just pulled up Uber's like financial performance, right? And it was just all green, year-over-year operating profit, 500% up. And I'm like, this is the numbers, and they're saying that they can't pay drivers more, and they can't charge riders less. To me, that just felt wrong. And I thought about it, and I said, wow, here are 2 rideshare giants that are literally bullying a community just because they have an app. And because of my tech background, I knew an app is not the biggest deal in the world to come up with. So, I went that day and started a rideshare company. And we had, obviously I'm used to the consulting pace. Mm-hmm. So within a month I had, 700-800 drivers. I had been on the news multiple times. I had 4 apps in the App Store. Like I was ready to go. Then I hit a brick wall. So this is something that I think every entrepreneur runs into, which is now you need money.
Yep.
So the city of Minneapolis and St. Paul, they both require licensing. It's about $40,000 each. The airport is like $10,000. And the state mandated insurance is about $150,000.
Wow.
So it is not a startup-friendly environment to enter. Now, I actually did get early commitment from a PE firm to fund this, and when we went back for like a 2-week checkup or a 1-month checkup, just to kind of give a status update and demo our tech to them, it took a turn. They kind of said, hey, you know how you told us the tech was the easy part? We actually just hired our own team, made our own app, so for a couple of grand a month.
They have their own rideshare company now?
They do. I can't say which one.
Wow.
Go ahead and do your research, but the offer that was made to me was shut down, and for $2,000 a month, you can join me, and it is what it is. And so that was a little bit upsetting.
That's wild.
Because, it's just, it's something that can happen to you, but not something I would have expected, an investor, a private equity company to do. So, went back to square one and had to go back to the drawing board on where we're going to, find our funding. Luckily, one of my co-founders, Tom, is very involved in kind of the startup community and the VCs around here. He connected us with Brown Venture Group, and we had kind of our mission and our vision aligned with their investment thesis, and it seemed like a great team and cultural fit, and so we're lucky to be funded by them. But of course, we then faced the challenge of trying to get past the attorneys and the required documentation, and that took many, many months. But here we are now. We're fully licensed in Minneapolis and St. Paul. We're near the finish line at the airport, so we're expecting to start airport rides in November.
Nice.
And we're launched. People can download us, and
I mean that's a very big jump from getting a company up and running within a year. I know it takes a lot of people way more time. I mean, from everything you've done in the past, all the experience you've gathered, what do you think is the most important lesson, the key takeaway from working in a corporate environment and then translating those skills that you got into the entrepreneurial field? Because I know a lot of people hate on your, just the 9-to-5 life, and I think there's a lot to gain from it. I've seen it from you. I've seen it from my brothers. I've seen it from Sharif, Randy, just a whole bunch of different, gentlemen that I've surrounded myself with. You all have had the base in corporate.
Yeah.
What are the skills that you gain, and how did you transfer them to your company, to launching the company?
I think it's actually quite the opposite. A lot of the skills you gain and a lot of the knowledge that you gain ends up being a little bit of a distraction and a hamper, right? So given my experience with transforming large companies and doing these big strategies, you want to run the company in a way where you're doing all these great things. But the truth is, you're a small company, you have very limited time, and you don't have infinite budget to be able to do everything you want to make the kind of company you want. And so what you have to almost do is to take those things, that's what's required for a great company, but you got to set those aside and focus on what is the minimum viable product, right? And not just for the product you're putting out there, but the MVP for an actual company to function.
Gotcha.
Right? Yeah, I should have great process documentation out there. I should be able to disappear tomorrow and my team can run the company without me, right? Yes, I should build this amazing culture and have great, benefits for the team and, do all that. But again, the more that you focus on those kind of extracurriculars, the more you're not focusing on really the key thing, which is you got to have a good product and you got to have great distribution, great relationships. So it's nice to have those things, and I know that it makes me a strong leader.
Yeah.
And hopefully when we're at scale, I'll be able to build a very strong foundation, right? Because I've served a lot of clients that don't have these strong foundations. However, you kind of have to turn some of that off and set it aside and say, here's what we need to do instead to get this off the ground.
That makes sense. I think a lot of times we strive for perfection and kind of forget that we have to take it step by step and at least make sure we're doing one thing right until we get to the next step. I mean, we do it here at Wing Group. You know, we of course want to be perfect, but we have to remember, take it day by day and focus on what you can perfect, not what you want to be perfect at.
Exactly.
Essentially.
I think one of the things that I struggle with is I want to do right by everyone. I want to be great for everyone. I want to be a solution for every problem, right? But luckily, I'm a flexible person, and I'm willing to listen to advice and feedback. And so what I do is I follow a lot of leaders for, you know, the top companies in the world, and every single one of them has advised, like, find a focus, pick a focus. It doesn't even have to be the right one. Focus somewhere, do one thing really well, and the rest will come. The growth will come. And so I've, you know, kind of started that. Yes, I can be the rideshare for everybody eventually, but focusing on what is my point of entry, doing that really well for both the drivers and riders, I think is going to set the foundation where people say, hey, they're doing this well for this group, maybe they can do well for me.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that that's what's going to make us scale.
Gotcha. So, I mean, what do you think the differentiating factor for MOOV at the end of it inevitably will be compared to all these larger companies?
Yeah, it's a couple of things. So, number one, we're a values-led company, right? So, and the biggest value for us is, you know, customer focus. And it takes a lot of companies a long time to realize that. And so that's where I talk about building that strong foundation. And my customers, I have two. Honestly, I have riders and I have drivers, right? So it's focusing on what their needs are, right? And it's not all about money. Yes, that's a big factor. Yes, drivers would always want to pay more, get paid more, and riders would always want to pay less for a ride. But this becomes exceedingly important with the new December and January rideshare law that takes place, right? Because
what is that?
So, among other things, there's a minimum pay you have to pay drivers. I think it's like $1.28 per mile and 31 cents a minute. And so what that's going to do is every rideshare company, the cost of their rides is going to shoot up. I estimate about 40%, just to pay that minimum driver, like legally required driver pay. So a $20 ride, pretty much on any rideshare company, I expect to jump up to $30. That's just to meet the driver pay, not including insurance, licensing fees, taxes, overhead. And then that's not even including the profit that the company needs to make. So when it comes to driver pay, like that will be met by all companies, and it's what is the differentiating factor after that? For me, with the drivers, it's providing them a great experience. I'll give you an example. So I recently signed up to drive for one of the large rideshare companies and had a documentation issue in their sign-up process where their app is saying, like, it's incomplete, but you click through it and it's saying it's complete. It took me, I want to say, 40 messages back and forth with their customer service team, multiple agents to get the issue resolved. And in the middle of that, they're sending me outdated, like, lobbying efforts. They're like, click here to email the city and tell them not to, you know, run this rideshare law in July or May, right? And I'm telling the customer service people, like, hey, the state has already stepped in. This law is already in effect.
Yeah.
Like, this is stale data. This is like 6 months old. And their response was, oh, sorry, they don't communicate that to us. And I'm thinking a multi-billion-dollar company, you know, is having these issues. And then I look at one of the customer service interactions that my team had with one of our drivers. And it's like 6 messages, 7 messages, and it's resolved.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, what do I need to finish? Hey, we see that your background check is complete. Please, you know. And we actually didn't even wait for him to upload it. We said we actually have the results on our end. May we proceed and upload it for you? Driver said yes. Upload. Thank you. Welcome to MOOV Rideshare. Please go ahead and go online and start accepting rides. Like, that customer service experience is really huge for drivers, because in the past it's been a big complaint for them that they can't get a hold of anyone.
Yeah.
Another big complaint is, like, if you were to give drivers a 1-star rating, even if it's as a joke, or it's your buddy, or maybe they said something that you didn't like, and you 1-star them, the big rideshare companies, it's extremely expensive for them to investigate these. And so what they do is the driver wakes up the next morning and their only source of income is blocked off. Right? And now at least Uber, for example, has like a chat feature, but in the past they didn't.
Yeah.
They had no phone number, they had no quick way to talk to anybody and say, hey, I need to make income. We do things differently. Like, we do a full investigation, both rider and driver. We make sure that it's an offense that would warrant booting you off our platform, because we understand that might be your only source of income. So a long-winded answer, but for the drivers, it's really the service differentiation.
Yeah.
For riders, it's two things. Like, I think, number one, we're going to be better priced than the other rideshare companies. We already are, and with this law change, we just don't need to make as much profit as like Uber or Lyft in order for us to be profitable, right? We don't have their giant cost structure. Uber lost like $14 billion over 22 quarters before they finally became profitable, or had a profitable quarter last year. We don't have that issue, right? And so our pricing can be better. It's not going to be, it might not be the cheapest. Like, we're not the Spirit Airlines of rideshare, right? but we also don't need to rip people off.
Do I have to drive the car myself? What are you doing here?
No, so we don't have to rip people off to, like, pay the drivers the same or more than what other rideshare companies do and still make a profit. But more importantly is we're going to have more innovative features. I can't talk about those too much. I'm actually in the middle of a patent process for that to protect some of the cool features that we have. But I think we're going to be able to do some really unique things that riders will find very valuable that they can't get on other rideshare companies.
If it includes dropping food to my door, I'm all for it. Let me know. Dude, question.
Yeah.
So you know how in Arizona they have the self-driving Jaguars?
Okay.
So do you think that you would be able to get to that point, or is it possible to get to that point with a rideshare company that has, people, like actual drivers? Like, do you think that's something a rideshare company can have a mix of both? Because in Arizona, every time I'd go, I just jump on the app and you'd order a self-driving car, and it comes to you wherever you are. It knows how to navigate through traffic. It knows how to stop when there's people. It drives like there's somebody in it, but it's fully automated. Do you think that's ever a possibility for a rideshare company to have a mix of both? Or does it essentially go against the values of what a rideshare company is made for?
I think, yes, you can have both. You can have a mix. And I think it's possible to do so in a way that doesn't go against your values, right? So customer focus means that my customers can get a ride to where they need to go, right? And if they're open to an automated ride, I don't think it's a huge threat anytime soon, because there's a lot of kinks to work out technologically, legally, operationally, public acceptance, etc. But for those early adopters who are okay with an automated ride, I have no, concern at this point. Yeah. Obviously, I want to think about it and make sure there's no risks that I'm taking on unnecessarily, but I have no concerns that if the technology's proven out and somebody wants it, I can connect them. Really, the goal of my platform is to connect supply with demand, right?
Yeah.
And as long as the things I do don't put my drivers at risk, I don't see a concern with that. Now, yeah, I think there's a subset of drivers, and maybe even our drivers, who are going to say, hey, you're giving away our rides to people, right? And that's true, but that's kind of a broader industry move, right? The other thing is that I think competitors are more likely to do that sooner than I am. And so, in a way, I welcome that, because I would give that outlet to drivers to be able to use my platform when maybe they're being booted off of other ones that are going the automated route sooner. So,
have you been in one of those, though, before?
I have not been in one of those. I have been in an automated car, and it's pretty cool.
It's crazy.
It's I definitely think it's the future. I mean, imagine you're sitting in a car. There's no steering wheel. You're facing each other. I know my fear. Well, my fear is that companies are going to be like, now your commute time is work time, right? Like now you don't have an excuse. Those 30-minute commute, you don't have an excuse to not be working during that time. But I think socially it'd be super fun to go go out with your friends at night and everybody's
dude. It's like you get the car. I was skeptical at first to try it. Like I was scared. So at a coffee shop in Arizona, and it was in a very busy strip center. So I'm like, all right, order. It's just like the same thing as the Uber app. You go, you order the car, and then it tells you, all right, the car is here. So I'm trying to find it in the parking lot. Mm-hmm. Tell me why this car goes, all right, cuts through the drive-through line, parks on the side, literally having people walk around, and you get in the car, bust a full 360 turn to get out of the parking lot. It drives so well to the point where it's as if there's somebody in the driver's seat, just turning the wheel, doing all that stuff. It knows how to avoid crashes. It knows when to stop. Even if it's following the law and somebody is going against the law, like you pass the stop sign, the car just drives right through, it stops right away.
Yeah.
And to me, that's crazy. And one of the reasons I do want to go back to Arizona again is just to use it. Because it's one of the most innovative things I've seen, especially when it comes to self-driving cars. You
know what I love about those safety features?
What?
It makes it really easy to cut in front of them. Like if there's a Tesla driver who's not letting you enter the lane, just pull in. There's automated safety will pull them back.
No, dude, it's just crazy how technology is going. And I know this is a conversation that we had before we started this, but how do you see with just the innovations in tech and how quickly these innovations are happening? How do you see, business owners, to what extent do you think that tech will be able to help them grow, but at the same time not overgrow to the point where it's out of their control?
Yeah, I think technology is an interesting thing because it can help businesses, but I think it has a propensity to displace businesses where there's like a size difference, right? So automated cars are more likely to help big companies than the little guys. Mm-hmm. It's definitely a threat to the rideshare industry, for sure, right? It's a threat to every driver. But that doesn't mean like a rideshare company can fail, right? If all of the sudden self-driving cars became ubiquitous and they're just everywhere and they're widely accepted, and other rideshare companies are now using automated cars, I have no problem doing that, right?
Yeah.
It's the thing you got to think about is you're displacing drivers, and how do you support them in that change?
Yeah.
So maybe we're specialized in that we always give you a human, right? And that becomes a niche that we play in. Or maybe I upskill the drivers in something else and help them transition, careers into something else.
So it's not going to be like iRobot?
Not anytime soon, but give it a couple of decades, I think it will be.
I see the memes that you put up with the iRobot memes. It's kind of funny. But it's just been crazy to see everything that you're doing, and from a spectator point of view, just kind of knowing that it is doable, because I've known you for how many years now?
A long time.
10.
Oh, it's a lot.
2009 to 19, that's 10 years. And then
15 years.
15 years.
Yeah.
The fact that I've seen your trajectory and your growth, I think is very inspiring, but also, gives me the realization that anything is attainable so long as you put your mind to it. Yeah. And as long as you have that drive and the will to never give up. I mean, it's just the first principle of winning, which is attack, attack, attack.
Yeah.
You just continuously attack until you get where you want to be without the room for stopping, or without the room for anybody to tell you, hey, you can't do this. Because I'm pretty sure there must have been a lot of times where somebody told you, hey, this is not going to work out for you. And I think the fact that you said no, I'm gonna get this done is really inspirational, and I'm proud of you, bro.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
This is it's been a long time coming, and I think from the whole family, all of us, we hang out together. I think it's right that we're all proud of you, and we're proud to see where you've gone, and we're just on the sidelines cheering you on, hoping that you conquer the market share.
I appreciate that so much,
man. Bro.
Thank you so much for having me here. For anyone who's interested in giving Move a try, go to makethemoov.com. That's makethemoov.com/download. You can download our rider app. You can download our driver app. Give us a try. We're the newest rideshare company in the Twin Cities, but also we're kind of the first in some ways because we're the first to register here. And, we're all about community focus and just doing right by everyone. So,
and that's what we love to do here. We love to support local, like-minded individuals who have their own companies, and you want to see them succeed and grow, and it just hits different when they're family. So if you guys want to keep following us and see the cool people that we know, make sure to tune into this season 2, because we're going to be bringing business owners that we know and interviewing them to let you guys know that it is doable and everybody has a story you can learn from. Now, with that said, thank you guys for watching. Murid, brother, thank you for your time.
Thanks so much for having me.
We hope to see you guys on the next episode. Thank you.